Welcome to the Triple Takeover Toycast, a fortnightly podcast all about Transformers and occasionally other toy brands as well. My name is Sixo, but more on that later because I'm joined by my two glorious co-hosts. We got Liam from Toybox Soapbox and Jason from J-Swags.
Hold up.
What's up?
You didn't give me a chance to say anything.
No chance to say what.
Did you want to say something? What were you going to say, Liam?
Do my introduction again. Do it
All
again,
right.
properly.
We got Liam from Toybox Soapbox.
Thunder. Thundercat. What? Ho!
Okay, that was worth it. That was worth
Yeah.
it. That was good.
Was it though?
Yeah.
Was it? Do you feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Good.
Don't take my moments away from me.
I would never dare.
Did you see that post that someone worked out that Thundercats is basically just a big laser light that Lion was shining into the sky and all the cats were going running towards it?
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense, though.
Distracting.
doesn't
It does
it?
make a
Yeah.
lot, and they're chasing it through the sky. It's great.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
So how are we doing, gents? You all good?
Yeah, better now.
Yes, post-holiday, feeling nice and
Yeah.
refreshed. That's
Jason,
nice.
you were away. You were on an unauthorized absence.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
For
I'll
nearly
put in
2
my pink
weeks.
slip later.
Yeah.
You
2
both
weeks,
were
really?
away. You've
2
both been
weeks?
on your holidays.
Yes, but mine was authorized.
It was a working holiday for
Mine
him.
was sanctioned.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was doing
He's like a
everything.
HR tyrant, isn't he, Jason?
You know,
That's what
Yeah,
he
he
found,
is.
exactly.
he
Well,
found
you
it.
know.
He found an old episode from the archives.
I
buried
did,
behind
didn't I? Yeah,
the
resurrected
sofa.
it. Resurrected.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun, actually. That was so weird, honestly. So we've just posted a lost episode on Titan's Return. We've referred to this thing so many times over the years. This lost
Yeah.
episode that was, what was it? Episode 36 or something? Yeah, something like that.
35, yeah, so in that era.
I can't even remember, but it was from 2 years ago. This thing, and I just found it like in our old recordings and that, and we didn't post it at the time because the audio was bad. We shan't say whose audio, shan't say whose fault it was.
It was yours.
Just-
it was Sixo's. Let's
could
just
have been
throw that
anybody's.
out there.
It could have been
It was
anybody's.
not mine or Maz's. It was 100% yours. Ours was delightful and sparkling.
There was plenty of blame to go around. I think we can all agree on
The
that.
thing that's really funny, because I listened to this on the flight there and then the rest of it on the flight back. And the funniest thing is you say about 10 words in the entire
Yeah, I'm not
episode.
in
So,
it.
you know,
Yes.
you're just not in it. And even
like a
Maz at one
cameo.
point points out, he's just like, yeah, you're not really had much to say in this
Yeah.
episode, have you?
I think Jason just uncovered the real reason it was been.
Yeah, exactly.
Sixo's
Steal
ego.
my limelight, will you? No, I don't think so. Lost episode.
I was extremely happy that returned because, as you know, like I was a real fan of that episode. I really enjoyed it. We all, well, me and Matt really enjoyed it because we were in it a lot. So
Yeah,
we
I
thought it was
enjoyed it
great.
too.
it was like the pub, but Sixo was just in the corner wrecked and wasn't able
Yeah,
to say
that's
anything. Yeah.
That was actually what happened, though. That's the funny thing, is I was
Yeah.
just sat there completely
Yeah,
paralytic.
Drooling. Yeah, exactly.
The one trying to pretend they're sober by being really quiet and focusing
Right.
on just staring at the glass.
Yeah. Fooling nobody, yeah.
No, it was worth the wait though. It was great to hear.
Yeah, it's a
actually.
good episode.
Yeah.
And it's gone down really nicely with patrons. We put it up on our Patreon, and all of our Discorders have been talking about it and everything. So it's just mad, kind of stepping back in time and hearing an episode, a recording from 2 years ago.
A vintage episode. That's what it is. It's like that thing when people find a Doctor Who episode in the skip or something, isn't it? You know,
Yeah,
like
like
an ancient one, and they're like, "Oh, this exists," or
Yeah.
or
the
for us,
Beatles
it's like
recordings. Yeah.
you know when you get like a G1 tour you've never ever experienced in your life, and it's like new to you, and like, "Oh, I've heard about this, but I've never actually held it or experienced it."
Yeah.
A bit like that.
It had that feel of it, honestly. Even going back through it and editing it was such a weird process. And we managed to resurrect it because of some new software and things like this that managed to kind of boost the audio. It actually didn't sound too bad in the end.
It didn't
was
at
the
all.
irony
That
of
was
it.
great.
Yeah, it sounded
Yeah.
fine. But it was very weird. It was very like vintage 3T, wasn't it?
All the jokes are there, aren't they? All the hallmarks of classic Triple Takeover. So if you guys missed that, you're not a Patreon, sign up and get it in your ears.
You've got an episode with banter about Liam's breakfast. You've got Maz telling me to f*** off and calling me a
I missed that.
you know.
Does he not hope you choke at some point?
I think that was it. I think there was something. I think that got cut. I can't
Now
remember.
you know it's a classic.
It's just an ordinary day for me. That is, honestly.
Yeah. What replaced it? It was Micromaster Combiners was the
It
one that
was.
replaced it.
It was, which I think you did under duress almost, didn't you?
Yeah,
The
I'm
trauma
gonna
was
be
real.
I'm gonna be very honest. If you listen back, knowing that I'm in a strop, you can hear it. You can actually. I think there's a bit where Maz says to me something like, "Oh, what do you think of Micromaster Combiners?" And I pretty much go, "Don't care."
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
that.
you did. There is a bit, I remember it.
Something like that.
I remember you were a
So,
bit like, they're all right, they're fine,
Yeah,
they're all right.
Yeah, fine. So, and the
Kind of
irony is,
slowly
I
teenager.
love them. That's the irony.
No, I
That's
know.
really
Kevin
funny.
or Perry. I was like, no,
no.
God, sick
I
of
hate
them.
you.
I think I remember saying to you, kind of off the pod or whatever, like, God, Liam, you do actually like these toys, and you were like, yeah, suppose.
I think I warmed up toward the end.
You did, definitely.
Oh, brilliant.
You did.
Well, look at
Yeah, it
that.
was a
Christmas
funny old
all
time.
over again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
good.
exactly. And we thought we'd come back for another round of another episode that we've not done in a while, actually. What was the last one? It was
Yeah.
54, wasn't it, that we did this last time? Episode 54, that we did a 3P, third party, Heaven or Hell. And, well, it's Heaven and Hell, I guess, really, because the idea
Yeah.
here is that we're going to each
That's it, yes,
choose...
both.
Yeah, it is both, isn't it? We're going
It
to
is
each
both.
choose a third-party Transformers toy, not a Transformers, a third-party non-Transformers toy, I suppose you would say. And
But that transforms.
but the
That
transforms.
yeah. A robot that transforms.
Maybe it converts.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Convertor.
I guess
no,
these
wait.
can
Oh.
transform, these ones, because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
With a lowercase t.
So we are on a stairway to heaven and a highway to hell.
There you go. That's
there we
it.
go.
That's the
Music
tagline.
soundtrack chosen.
Mm.
That's going
Done.
in the show notes. There we go.
Good, isn't it?
But yeah, no, so the format here is very simple, that we're going to talk about some third-party toys, and we're going to choose one each that we've really, really loved from over the years, like the absolute best of the best, and we're going to choose one that we really did not like so much. And this is where, Jason, the gloves are off, you get to unleash your big hater energy and just go to town on these things, honestly. Just no holds barred, none of your nice Jason, we want it all, mate.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens, shall we?
Can you dig that deep?
I'm excited for Jason's choices because I feel like we're
Yeah.
going to get like G1 Optimus Prime or something like that. Like,
Curveballs aplenty.
yeah.
Curveballs are plenty.
I can't imagine him picking one he doesn't like for hell. I can't
I
imagine
know.
it.
I can't imagine it. What's it going to be?
This is his controversial opinion.
You know, I was literally about to say that. That's going to be. Oh, anyway, let's just go with it, okay? And we'll see. Stay tuned, everyone.
The thing I've discovered about Jason is that the toys that he really doesn't like are ones that are bizarrely typically pretty popular for some reason. It's like,
Yeah.
Which one? I don't
I
like.
don't know. I've just got that vibe. I can't think of an
I
example
love
right
all
now.
Transformers. This is my problem.
Mm.
Except Cheetor. Supreme Cheetor. Sorry, Supreme Cheetor. Not a fan.
You had to bring him up though, didn't you? You notice
I
you always
know.
bring him up. You
I
say you
do.
don't like him, but it's always on your
Don't you own
mind.
3 of them, Jason?
By the end of TFN, I will. You know,
I'm sure you will.
people keep giving me them.
He'll
Hint,
claim
hint.
that he's going around the dealer room swiping them all to like prevent other people from having to experience it or something.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
know the
He's
truth.
starting a catchery.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
Yeah. I just don't want to do a really extravagant domino rally where it just uses that kind of punch technique to just punch the other Supreme Cheetos down and just get
Cat
like
punch, man.
cat punch. Man.
Could be fun.
Oh, that sounds
Could be
awful.
fun.
Don't punch cats, people.
No, please
do
don't. Please don't. Not good. Not good.
But before we get to all of that good stuff, we should mention that we do have a sponsor for the evening. That is tfsource.com. So do check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs. And we also have a Patreon. And we've got some new patrons tonight as well. Some big signups, actually. We had a little flurry of signups for our Transformers 1 competition that we've been running to go and see a screening of Transformers 1, which has been really exciting. But we're going to do a longer segment on Patreon later on. But yeah, do check us out at patreon.com/Triple Takeover. And otherwise, lads, should we get on with it?
Yeah.
Yes, we shall. Indeed.
On with the ceremony.
The ceremony.
Yes. Ba-da-da-da. So the thing with this...
Very nice.
God, it was like
it.
being in the
He
film.
needs interstitial music when we got Liam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just do all our bumpers for us. But yeah, so the thing with this is, third party. We said it last time. I think we described some third party toys as bath turds last time. I listened I listened back to a bit of the episode, and there was Maz doing a whole story about bath turds. He'd had a problem with bath turds.
Oh my god, is
Do you
that where that
yeah,
was? Yes, of course I remember it. I remember it. I couldn't remember when it was.
that was that.
I'll never be able to expunge that from my
Yeah,
brain.
well,
I'll
I've just
remind
brought
me
it up
for
again,
that.
so-
Oh.
And if you haven't heard episode 54 and you don't know Maz's story about bath turds, you can go and hear it. It was pretty gross.
His massive bath turd.
Maybe so. Should we clarify that it wasn't Maz that did a bath turd, or should we just leave that and
Just leave
Yeah.
it. No,
Let's just leave that.
Cut that bit out.
Let people use their imagination, I
They
guess.
can work it
yeah.
out.
This will bring him back for a clarification.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the thing that we did say then in the whole battered conversation was that we said, the thing with third party is that some of them are really, really bad. Like when they get bad, they get awfully, awfully bad. To the point of like, there's no way Hasbro or Takara could make a toy this wretched, right? That's like the level of hell that we're talking about. But there are also, and we're going to be fair here, some amazing third-party toys as well. And the thing about third-party is that there are no limits, really, are there? They don't have all of the same kind of considerations and constraints around budgets and factory safety and things like that. They can have really sharp stuff on it that you can just stab yourself with, things like that. So they are kind of able to make products that sometimes are a little bit off the chain, a little bit uninhibited. And I think when third party is good, it's like really good, isn't it? That's the thing. So, and that's the two sort of extremes that I often find with third party toys. They're either incredible or they're just beyond belief bad. And that's what we're trying to capture here, really. So you tapping into that energy tonight, Jason? You got that vibe?
Got it. I'm on it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah. Everyone stay tuned, as I said, until the end. So
right.
I'll go last.
Okay. Well, I was going to say who's going to kick us off. I think it should be Mr. Soapbox.
Yes, I would agree.
What? Really?
Yeah, you do so well going first at these things.
Yeah, but my bad one doesn't fit into a category of like terrible, terrible toys.
Oh, really?
But you're doing heaven first, aren't we?
Yeah, we'll do heaven first.
We'll do heaven. We'll do a heaven each, and then we'll do a hell each.
Yeah, we'll do a heaven first.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a place on
Stairway to Heaven. Oh, did you get a message from Belinda from Carlisle as well?
I did, mate. I was preempting it. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so it was tough for me, but I thought I was pick one. I decided to pick one that nobody ever talks about, and I don't understand why, because it's such a great freaking toy. And my choice is Make Toys Buster Skywing.
Ooh, I don't know this one.
No, I don't know this one either.
So, for those unfamiliar with it, such as you two, this is, I mean, both of you, not you two. I don't think Bonner and the Edge are like sat around waiting for this episode.
He's willing
just in his Irish accent, wanting to know what this guy is about. So, this is Make Toys Cross Dimension toy line. So, in a time when all third parties were just making G1 style masterpiece toys, Make Toys was still out there trying to do something slightly different, and they did this thing called Cross Dimension. So you had like an Optimus Prime, which had this kind of cool looking Cybertronian truck. There was a mad Galvatron gladiator type dude, and then there was this Jetfire, and it doesn't look like any sort of Jetfire you've seen, but all the hallmarks are there. It's white and red, kind of looks like him, but it looks different.
Looks very cool. Yeah,
it's got a really unique pointy aesthetic that you just don't get, and it was such like a breath of fresh air in a world of just cartoon looking.
It's got a bit of Swoop vibes for me as well. There's wings in the way that he's looking.
But that's what I mean. Everything's exaggerated on it, but it doesn't turn into what you would typically associate Jetfire or Skyfire with. The kind of weird G1 cartoon spaceship, which is super cool, or the Macross, Valkyrie. It doesn't turn to that. It turns into this, an Avengers Quintjet.
That's sick. That is so cool. Look at that thing.
Wow.
So Make Toys, the genius of this is the Avengers films were coming out and they're all massive and stuff. So they had this genius idea. We're going to do a Jetfire and it's got to be different.
That's brilliant.
Let's make it a Quinjet. And
I love it.
It's such a cool touch.
Is that in landed mode? Do those wings then flick up and straighten out in flying around mode?
They pivot up. So you can't see it there because I haven't got any other pictures of it. But the backside of the wings kind of pull out at a slight angle, and there's a bit of a turbine that pulls out as like detail and stuff.
Wow,
it's stunning, and the guns can pop off, the arms and on the back.
I love it. Yeah,
it's just a fantastic looking toy.
When did this come out?
Oh God, maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Because I think I saw this. Was this at TFN? I'm pretty sure I saw this.
Probably. It's been out for quite a few years.
And
it was definitely there
really
this year,
tempted.
last year in the box. So
yeah,
our lovely patron and great friend of mine, Dom, gave me this as a gift years ago.
No.
A few years ago. So it actually took me a very long time to transform it because there were no videos and he didn't give me the instructions. So it was only like last year or the year before when we were at the pub again where he'd found the instruction he gave to me. It's like, oh, thank God I can transform it now.
It says 2018 on the little promotional
Yeah.
material that you've
I thought it was about
posted
5
there.
or 6,
So
yeah, 5 or 6 years.
Amazing. Is that on the box art? I presume that's box art that you've posted there as well. That top right image is he
Combined with Optimus Prime?
Yeah,
Yes,
it is, isn't
Jason.
it? Whoa.
Yes, he is.
Cool.
Well spotted, Eagle Eye Action Man over there.
Yeah.
So, I was going to talk about this, but so they have their cross dimension Optimus, which is the first one they did. It's called Striker Manus, I think is what it's called.
That's it.
remember
Yeah,
it,
I
yeah,
think you're
remember
right.
it.
Yeah.
And they did it in so many colorways, and I always regret not getting the blue one that Kapow had at TFN a few years ago, like an exclusive one. And they fashioned some kind of system for this to combine. I've never done it myself, but I think it involves taking it apart and
It looks
clipping
like
the
it.
pieces together. Yeah, you can sort of tell from the boots and stuff.
Yeah, it's been platformed, yeah.
It's just such a great looking toy, and nobody ever talks about it. It's just kind of like fallen by the wayside.
This has totally passed me by somehow. I've heard of I've seen the Striker Manus and thought that looked cool, but somehow this Jetfire, it's honestly completely sidestepped my attention. I think the combination thing is super cool because in a way it's like a bit Unicron trilogy as well. It's like the Optimus and Jetfire
that's true.
combination, but it's sort of G1, but it's not G1. It's kind of Neo G1.
And it dates itself with the combination because it's like all Jetfire toys do at the minute, particularly in third parties where they all combine Optimus Prime because of the movie.
Mm-hmm. Right, that's true.
Revenge of the Fallen.
Yeah.
This has spawned this obsession with them kind of creating, and it's a cool little feature that it can do. Because I remember when it was first shown off, I think people thought it was going to be like a fan mode or something, but it is just a thing they've built in. And that's the toy really itself is massive, but it was so nice to see at this time. Just this kind of sea of G1 looking cartoon robots. Everyone's doing the same things, slightly different shades.
So what kind of scale is this?
It's I believe the technical term is Ginormatron or something like that.
So I was wondering, is it like kind of like massive?
It's very big. It's one of those where it's also quite ungainly with the giant wings. So putting him on the shelf, he can't go in a corner. He has to go like across the middle.
Are we talking like Trypticon? G1 Trypticon kind of
exactly the same height as MP Megatron, the second one, is it?
All
right, okay, yeah,
MP 36.
36. I was going to say 38, but yeah.
But then, like with a wingspan to match it.
That's about the height I would have expected. Actually, I if anything, maybe smaller, but yeah, sort of no more than that. That's a good height for it as well. It's not. It's big, but it's not like ridiculously big. You know how like a lot of MP sized toys now are ridiculously big, like they're just too big almost.
It becomes ungainly.
It is. The thing is, the wings keep, they're so wide and spread out. It kind of limits how you can pose it on a shelf because unless you've got a shelf dedicated to it. Like on mine, it's with the masterpieces, so it's directly behind Megatron, so you could kind of see what size he is. But it's I think the reason it's not that fondly remembered or people just don't care about it is because the same reason it's great is that it was a different design to the cartoon. Everyone else was the cartoon. So I think it was just kind of like an interesting side curio almost.
Yeah.
But to me, it's brilliant and it's so clicky. This is one of the reasons I never take photos of it because it would trigger the dog like crazy. Like everything clicks. Every stage of the transformation, something is clicking. Even things you wouldn't expect, like just moving the wings, they click. They all just constantly pop and click, and it's kind of cool. One of them really satisfying things. But the articulation it's got lots of articulation, but it's quite, because it's so clicky, the joints and stuff, it can be a little bit awkward to move about. But it's just so cool.
This, I have to say, this for me really reminds you of how amazing Make Toys were at one point. Right? Like they were such hot shit at one point, and now, at the risk of saying it, is it even Make Toys anymore? I'm not up on kind of what's going on or whatever, but it's just
doing recolors of that one Starscream mold.
Endless Seeker repaints,
flavors of bubblegum.
I don't even think it's Make Toys so much as like it's the factory or something that have the mold and they're just pumping them out. I don't know the situation. That's what I heard something vaguely about it, that it's not actually Make Toys as it was. It's just like they're using it's the factory and using the name or something. I don't know, but it's kind of a shame to see because honestly, there was a point where Make Toys was like honestly the 3P for a lot of people. You know, they were really kind of on
Me,
top of their game. Yeah,
I would
right.
say it's my favorite one by far because they always is something interesting and different.
Yeah.
That was always their thing. Like even when they first came out, their first toy was the Devastator. They did. I don't know if you remember the. I can't remember what it was called, but it's when we had the TFC Devastator. Do you remember that was the
Yeah,
first
that's the
one?
one I've got.
Yeah.
TFC.
Was it
Yeah.
Iron Giant?
No,
No, not Iron Giant. Green Giant?
that's a movie.
I know that's a movie. Yeah, I know that's a movie.
Yeah,
Green Giant?
yeah,
It's a
Green
giant. Was it just
Green
Giant?
yeah.
Make Toys
It was
Giant?
Giant, yeah.
Giant.
And then there was the
Yeah,
yellow
it's just
version.
called
They did,
Giant.
yeah,
That's right.
Make Toys Giant.
I'm just adding adjectives, but it's just
Giant Type
yeah.
61 for the full title. Is
But that's how far back in time that was. That both Devastators were not cartoon inspired. TFC one was IDW inspired, and then that one was more vintage toy based, and it was kind of wild and crazy. And I think we've kind of lost that in Transformers. Like you don't get enough non G1 cartoon stuff, or like even when they're bringing back like the animated toys or the Unicron trilogy stuff in like Legacy.
Yeah.
It all just looks the same, or it all looks accurate,
yeah.
and it's like that's kind of cool. But we already have toys like that. I kind of miss this when they had this kind of creativity, and this like an example of the very best of third party. What they could do, the potential they had to do such new, wild, crazy ideas.
Yeah,
I think what surprises me is that this is after Make Toys had also pivoted to the kind of cartoony style, though, right? Like because they did stuff like everyone calls it cup holder, I know, but Capola, you know, with the I know everyone calls it cup holder, but like they started doing their headmasters and they did downbeat and that kind of stuff, and those are all excellent. I mean, cup holder I hold up as like one of I could put that on this, honestly. Like I could talk about Make Toys Capola now and say how great I think it is, because I do think it's such an incredible third party toy. But that was very cartoon orientated, and they kind of did the whole masterpiece thing, which I remember a lot of people at the time were like, oh no, they've gone that route, you know, they kind of weren't, and then they saw the toys and they're like, actually they're great. But it surprises me that actually this Buster Skywing came out after that.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, they had more strings to their bow than a lot of companies. I think they kind of remembered where they came from, and like they were there for the love of the game, if you know what I mean. Like they were really there to just to make cool stuff. Like fan toy stuff is fine, but it's very much just catering to a very specific and exact segment. It's a lot like Iron Factory, where they do their own thing. They march their own beat to keep stealing cliched phrases.
No. Yeah, it's good. You're weaving them in. That's good.
Yeah,
but
it's all good.
There is something here that might appeal to you, particularly the Sixo.
Oh yeah,
they did it in black.
Oh.
Now, do you know? I maybe preemptively Googled, and maybe saw this, and I thought, how ironic that we were just talking in a mini-sode about black Jetfire, Skyfire, and saying, you know, does it work? Does it not work? Depends on the toy. This looks great.
It's cool, isn't it?
The other MP, Skyfire and Black, look great as well.
This clearly takes inspiration from the live action movies, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
It's that deco, the black sort of silver and
that
red.
Looks so pretty. Wow.
But his face as well, like I didn't even mention his face. If you look at his head, it doesn't look like any Jetfire you've ever seen. It's a bit Death Saurus-y, you know, with the...
It is
a little bit,
It totally is, isn't it? Has he got like goggles on? Yeah, he's got this kind of,
But it's got the sun visor sort of thing. He can push it up and down, so it gives him a visor that covers his mask, you know, covers his eyes, sorry. Or you can lift it back and he's got a face.
Oh,
it's kind of an interesting solution to the idea of Jetfire's vintage toy having the, you know, the faceplate looking thing, because it was from the Macross toy line. And then the actual cartoon face, and normally it's just a faceplate now, but here they just have it as a flip down visor, and it's just a really cool little idea, because it's a thing you would sort of expect in terms of a mask, but it's done in a way you wouldn't expect, in that it's just a flip down visor in it.
Yeah, totally.
Completely cool, wicked toy that does not get the love it deserves.
Fantastic, great choice.
Love
really
it.
Great choice. Yeah, I'm into
it.
Us
off nicely.
Yeah, I can't believe I've never seen it before, honestly. So, is it the same head on the black version as the white version?
Yeah, but just with a different deco.
Yeah,
Right.
It looks the same as you zoom in.
It's amazing though. Like if you look at the red visor, how much work that does in making it look different. It's a great use of color, because it's like the head's black with the sort of almost like a silver looking strap and the red center. So
on top,
it looks different, but it is just the same head. But I think it's because in the picture I posted of the Jetfire, it's pointed backwards, so you can't see that same.
Yeah, one of them is. Yeah, he's got the black one has got his head to the side. The other one's got his head facing straight forward, isn't it? So you can't see the crest. Yeah. Tricksy.
Cool. Good choice, Liam.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Sixo, you need to see if you can beat that with your heaven.
Oh, is it me now?
Competition.
It is, yeah. Oh, is it? Oh, is it, Jason? Right.
It is you, yeah. Okay. Because I'm going last.
coming in strong for someone that was just on 2 weeks of unauthorized leave, haven't you?
That's these weeks going up.
You know? Dock his pay.
I'm going to dock his pay, yeah, indeed. Absolutely. He's got a meeting with HR on Monday morning.
It's all hula hoops and Haribo. That's why I get paid.
You're right.
I told you, Jason, you should have learnt your lesson. You shouldn't post pictures on social media if you're going to skype off work.
That's exactly that. Nobody would have known, Jason.
Busted.
Nobody would have known.
I know exactly.
You just got to say that you're working from home.
Yeah, but on the Discord every couple of minutes, that would have worked.
Yeah. Right, well, I can go next, but the thing is, I've chosen the best third-party toy of all time. So if I go next,
here.
That's it.
Okay.
Oh wait, you've chosen Thunder Menace, the greatest third-party toy.
I have not. No, I've chosen Make Toys Coppola. No, I haven't. Don't worry. I could have done.
That would have been genius.
It's up there.
That would have been a great choice.
It is a great choice. Yeah, it's a legitimately great choice. But there is better. And Jason, you're never going to be able to top this, mate. I'm afraid.
What? Oh,
yeah.
Is it Point Blank? Did Maz not pick that last time?
No, he didn't. Last time, his heaven was TFC ST Commander. Which is a really good toy. Very deserving. Yeah. But I have the best third-party toy of all time, and it's this.
Oh,
I knew you were going to choose this.
That's Maz's photo.
It is.
I almost chose it to spite you because I knew.
Right. No way.
Because
I would have just got in with you.
Since we did that episode, I remember you getting quite back into this toy, like because you had it, you sold it, hadn't you? And then there was an episode. I remember we were talking about it, and suddenly your interest in it sort of came back, and then you got it quite
very much so
afterwards. And I remember how happy you were with it.
Oh, I love it! I absolutely love it. So this is MMC Mastermind Creations Feral Rex.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is great. And lucky I didn't choose Nero Rex, which I nearly did.
Have you got the Nero Rex version?
I do have Nero Rex version. Yeah. And it's beautiful.
That is such a long-term grail of mine. I can't even tell you.
I'll drop mine in there. It's very hard to photograph, but there you go.
Look at that. It's just beautiful.
It is stunning.
Just beautiful. This is, in my opinion, everything that third party does well. It's just timeless. Superb design, creative design, unique aesthetic, takes sort of a beloved character that a lot of people really love, you know, the idea of Predator King and all of that, and it just realizes it in a kind of really stylized but classic way, to the point where these toys, I don't feel like they've aged particularly. You know, I still pick them up now and I'm like, this is still as good as when it was released in, what was it, 2013, 2014?
Is it that long ago?
Yeah, I think it's 10 years.
I got it, 2015 was Nero Rex, so 2014 for...
I remember pre-ordering the first one, which was it Tantrum or Headstrong? It was a Headstrong, wasn't it?
I think it was the Headstrong first.
It was.
Or no, was it the Tantrum first? I think it was Tantrum first, which was Bovis, and then Fortis, which was the Headstrong.
I think you're right. I remember pre-ordering the first one and having to go the entire length of Nottingham because they diverted to the wrong post depot when I wasn't in.
Right.
It's the exact opposite side. You can't get further away in this city than where this depot is from my house.
No, really?
And I live round the corner from our local post depot. But I remember having to trek over there after work at night and collect it, and just being so happy once I got it. When I got home. Yeah, what an incredible time, a moment as well in time.
Well, I was just going to say, this is. I mean, it is 10 years ago. I just checked. So Maz's pictures, which I'm sharing on our Discord between us. You could look at them. Maz did some glorious pictures of this back in 2014, so legitimately 10 years ago. Although I think the releases started probably in 2013. But this was a real moment in time, and I think for many of us that were picking up this kind of stuff at the time, it just hit perfectly. Honestly, it was everything everybody wanted it to be. The Masterpiece line, which now it sounds weird because everybody doesn't collect Masterpiece now. They're all onto like Legacy and Generations and everything. But at this point, pretty much everyone that you spoke to was collecting Masterpiece in some form, because it was all like your Masterpiece Prowls and things like that were coming out, and they were all kind of affordable and accessible, and and the idea of Masterpiece combiners had sort of been done but not been done, because as you said, Liam, there was some like third-party Devastators out and things like this, and then this thing started dropping, and it was just such a breath of fresh air. And it was like, felt truly special. Like, I remember each of these toys, all 5 of them releasing, just being an event. And just, seeing the legs kind of, you're transforming it into leg mode and going, look at that, look at it.
It's
look at the size of it. Yeah.
The size, and how solid it is as well. It just is. To create something like this that looks aesthetically so good, has a brilliant nod to the original G1, improves upon it, and this figure as well, considering its size, is really posable. You really managed to stand. I know they had to do certain tricks and stuff to improve it, because it was a bit slippy in the first version, wasn't it? With stuff like that.
Get little pads to put under the feet.
Yeah,
and
so
things like that.
on the Nero X version, that comes with it, and there was pads that they'd and I think they made it slightly bigger so that it was more grippy, and stuff like that. And this does sit on the top of one of my Billy bookshelves, and I always was a bit kind of like nervous about it toppling. But its balance and everything about it was great. I remember mucking around with it at TFN as well, and just a really, really nice figure in its own right. It's what third party is for me.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing, and that's why I say it's the greatest. I mean, look, I'm not. Am I going with that opinion? Maybe. I don't know. It's certainly up there for me. It's certainly like top 5, certainly. But opinions may vary on if it's the best or not. But it is one of the most iconic third-party toys in its way, I think. Mm-hmm. And it's just because, as I say, it's so timeless, so representative of what makes third-party great. And the funny thing is, it's not actually the biggest combiner. I mean, there are now, 21-inch Masterpiece scale combiners, things like this, that absolutely dwarf this thing, like off the Richter.
See him at the party.
Yeah, exactly that.
See you at the party, Richter.
Yeah, very good. I knew what you were referring to. I
got that reference. I understood that reference.
I got it.
Just like to be sure sometimes.
Yeah, we get it, man. But it has been dwarfed now. But I don't think that the size is a problem with it at all. I don't think it loses anything in terms of its presence or how commanding it is. And the thing that really tells me that is that there's a KO of this, which people always talk about, and I've never handled it, but I gather from the people that have that the KO is dog shit.
Really?
People often say that it's floppy or it kind of doesn't hold together properly or whatever. And I think, they upscaled it hugely and just lost some of the charm in terms of the build, and things like that.
The only flaw this one had that I always remember is the thighs were loose. And that was always a problem with the regular one, because they issued fixes at some point, didn't they? And ways to fix it. And it's always the hips, because it's the way the legs extend.
There was a bit of that, yes, definitely. Yep. You could sort of see that they were learning as they were going. I mean, this was designed by Cassie Sark, who many people will have heard of in the sort of third-party Transformers realm. Very famous designer and really, really good. He's done a lot of incredible projects, and I think there was a lot of learning as this project was being done. Which you can kind of see when you go through the various releases, but they all have some amazing elements to how they're put together, ways that they transform, ways that between the 3 modes, including the combined mode, that they kind of things peg in and things like that. It's so clean and tidy. It's really just an incredible achievement, in my opinion. And one of those things where even if there are elements about it that, all right, maybe could be improved upon slightly, I just think as a real moment in time, it stands up still 10 years on, in my opinion.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah.
Genuine, wow moment when this happened. Combining it for the very first time, when you got to finish it, it was just gosh, this is actually a crazy thing that exists. Because it was Dive Bomb that came last. I can't remember what it was called, but I remember Dive Bomb came last.
Was it? I was trying to remember which one was last. Maybe it was Dive Bomb, actually. Yeah, maybe you're right.
It was Rampage. Maybe it was Rampage.
I think it was Rampage. I thought it was Rampage that came last. Yeah, I remember getting him the last, certainly.
I remember he was redecoed into, was it Catilla?
Yes, he was. I never got the Catilla. I never bothered with it, but yeah,
it's
you
cool.
could.
I had
you
that
could
as
get
well.
the sixth team member. Did it add much to the combined mode?
No, not really. It was just a extra. Like, what did you do? You swapped it out for Rampage, didn't you?
I think you had 2 arms, didn't you? Use him as an arm, and then you could use the other arm as like something else. I can't remember.
Another arm.
Yeah, exactly. 3 arms. Yeah,
many arms. Exactly.
3P, 3 arms.
So he would be armed to the teeth.
Yeah, very good, Liam. There we go.
Nice. There we go. Love it.
Well, they were armed to the teeth. These things.
Yeah.
I've just posted a couple of Maz's pictures of the individual bots as well.
The sword, I think, is this the first time? This has become a staple now of little swords forming into a larger sword.
I was just going to say
the first one I remember it in.
So cool.
It was amazing. So cool, and the gun as well was formed of all the little guns. So Feral Rex's gun was every single gun that came with all the individual figures combined into one massive gun, and it worked so well and kind of sits on his arm and everything. And yeah, the sword was all combined for the bits, but even like the feet, the combined mode feet could become weapons for the individual bots and things like this, and kind of sit on the back of the Rhino mode and things like that. It's just so cool. Honestly, the way that everything integrated, it felt like a very playable set, despite it being third party. These were toys that you could sit and fiddle with and transform and legitimately enjoy transforming over and over and over again. Or they looked wicked in photographs, or just honestly just fiddling with them and arming them up and displaying them. Just hours of entertainment, I think, in this set of 5 figures.
Yeah, it was great. Superb. I'm trying to remember as well. I think my first experience with this was when I got the Nero Rex. I hadn't actually...
Right.
But I had intended on getting either of them, to be honest. And I would gladly own both, to be completely honest, just because of how good they look. As you say, the level of fun that you can have from each of the figures, they were just superb. And really solid. I think that was the thing as well, that this was when third party were really kind of coming of age and finding their stride, So it was like managing to put stuff out there that was really solid, really well engineered, and worked. Like, to do something like a combining figure like this that worked in every single mode hadn't really been done that well before. It was peak. And still to this day, it's aged. The funny thing as well, looking at these things now, is that I kind of look at some of the third-party stuff in my collection, and it's not aged necessarily quite as well, whereas this figure, it still fits.
Yeah, I completely agree with all of that. And I do think that, there are figures that have come after this that honestly feel, you talk about a moment in time, it feels like they're totally dated in that time, whereas this you could pick up today. They could drop this now, and I think, honestly, people would still enjoy it, and I'm sure there will be people listening to this that weren't collecting 10 years ago that maybe aren't even aware of this thing. And all I can say is that if you want a really fun, kind of vaguely masterpiece style, maybe not scale, Predaking, I would say that this is still absolutely worth a run for your money, in my opinion.
Yep. So, okay, that's it. We've finished the episode, everyone.
Yeah,
see you
that's
later.
It. Try topping that then, Jason.
Okay.
Although you nearly did with your blooming Nero version. Honestly, that...
Snuck that in there.
I cannot tell you, UNEM did some pictures of the Nero version, and I remember just glaring at them for ages back in the day. And I couldn't afford the thing, and I really wanted it, and I already had the orange version, and it was kind of like, well, I can't really justify 2. Do you know what I mean? But
it was actually it was my ex-wife Selena. She bought me this I think it was for my 40th when I got Nero Rex, and she really loved it as well, because that color scheme, because it's like a kind of blue on the metallics as well, and that purple. Yeah, it's stunning. It's a great reformatted version. It really is.
It's one I would still kind of consider the Nero version someday. But I would say to anybody that is tempted by this, or maybe looking at this, please don't buy the KO. That is all I would say. You owe it to yourself. You can get the original. It's not impossible to come across. It probably is a little bit spenny these days. I've no idea what it goes for, but honestly, treat yourself. Don't go for the KO. Get the original. It's so much better.
I'd 100% agree with that. Right,
come on
gents.
then. Come on.
Brace yourself.
Yeah, curveball time.
Here's with a curveball.
Okay. Let me bring up my notes. Make sure I get
I'm
this
excited,
right.
Jason.
Heaven, reading my notes.
Are you finding it hard to believe we're in heaven, Jason?
Heaven only knows.
It's taken a while, Sixo. I think it's because heaven can wait.
That's it. I know. I'm trying to find something else because I did have Nero Rex as my choice. Not really. Sorry.
I was going to say, did you?
Yeah. No, I didn't. But I do have a Mastermind Creations choice as well.
Really?
And that is Komotus.
Ah.
Mastermind Creations. So this is IDW's. It's their take on IDW's Turmoil. This character. So, well, first of all, and it's also based off of Spartan, which was their version
the
of
Impactor.
Impactor.
The retool of the
retool of that. So I've got both.
The metal slug tank. Oh, have you?
Yeah,
I've always wanted the Impactor because it turns into a metal slug tank.
That's right. Yeah, Komotus. We were talking about this. It's kind of going back to the Skyfire, the Black Skyfire, but this is a all black figure. But within that image, you'll be able to see as well. It has this like blue panel lining throughout it, which just makes each of the parts of this robot pop in like the most subtle of ways. It's a matte black as well. It's not shiny or anything like that, which is the only, I suppose the only issue is then fingerprints. But as photographers, for you two, this is friction joints that it's got.
Yeah.
This is the most fun to photograph. It is so posable. It is so nice that the tiny little increments you can do, the poses you can put it in. You said earlier actually as well, Sixo, about this kind of what third party can do where they can just put big massive spiky bits.
Yeah,
this guy does have huge spiky bits because then it's right now, and God bless him. Thanks, Maz. One of his photos here as well.
Yeah.
Look at that alt mode. It's just so good. So good. And this is where I feel, so for Komotus, I prefer the alt mode because Spartan's alt mode, the kind of cannon is slightly odd looking, and it's kind of squashed cannon that's got on the top of it as well. But if you look at that image that Maz has taken there, he's really captured that level of detail. These little piston elements that are in there, these big gnarly spiky bits at the front. It compacts right down, really solid little figure as well.
It's very tidy.
Really lovely, like really lovely. And it's just the imagery. Like, I remember when I was mucking around with it, I took that photo of it in robot mode, and the silhouettes you get from it, it's just really nice. And he's got this like candy red eyes to the character as well, which just draw you in. It just looks beautiful. And there's not really been any third party figure that I've had. I sat for hours just posing it, playing with it, not transforming it for that kind of time. And Spartan as well, don't get me wrong, is a beautiful figure. But I just felt that this was a great example of really subtle, we were talking with the Skyfire, the Shattered Glass Skyfire that needed more stickers and all that kind of stuff. But this guy is actually very stark, but it just works so well, and
it looks superimposing.
Yeah, really does. And but it's like even the fact that he's just this big chunky boy in his alt mode. It's when I started transforming it as well, I was kind of like, because I didn't know about, at that time I hadn't got to Turmoil in the comic, I wasn't reading about it, so didn't know much about the character. So when I was transforming it, and then it kind of revealed this thing, and this was giving me kind of vibes back to like your Warhammer 40k stuff of this.
It really is like that, yeah.
Hulking tank. And again, even going back to, we were talking about Feral Rex and Nero Rex there, MMC at this time were just creating really nice figures like this. I'm thinking like release date for Komotus was around, it was 2016. So they had this run of just really nice figures and had just learned from previous iterations. And we've talked a lot about, masterpieces having ratchets and the frustration when you're trying to photograph stuff that it doesn't quite click to where you need it to be. And that can be a bit frustrating. But here, as I say, friction joints, it's great. There is a few flaws, doesn't have rolly treads. They don't move.
Yeah.
And his hands have no knuckles. So his hands are just
locked. I see that.
Grip
as well. Fixed fingers or whatever, yeah.
But it's minor. It's minor stuff.
Do Spartan was one that I remember, again, seeing Maz's pictures. We're talking about Maz a lot tonight, aren't we?
I know, yeah.
Totally.
He's going to be burning, honestly.
Yeah.
But
You invoke him.
Yeah, exactly. You might just summon him and
Just
appear.
Like
Beetlejuice.
like Candyman.
Like Candyman. Yeah, Candy Maz.
You say his name 3 times and he appears.
In front of a mirror, yeah. Woo!
Bees everywhere, yeah.
Candy Maz, Candy Maz, Candy Maz.
holding a diaclone.
I hope you choke.
Holding a diaclone.
Exactly. Just come in and call you a But I remember looking at, pictures of Spartan and thinking, that looks epic. Being a big Marvel UK fan, obviously, it always looked like a great representation of Impactor. And it always struck me that actually the scale was really good for it, because it could sort of work with Masterpiece toys, and there were many people that posted pictures of it with Masterpiece toys, and it wasn't too much bigger than like your average Carbot necessarily. But it also sort of slotted in quite nicely with a lot of what Generations was doing at the time. Like, it looked good with the Generations Thrilling 30 Springer, stuff like that. So it struck me as like a really good size, and this looks really good in that regard as well. So
yeah, you're right. I actually, if I'm remembering, it's on my Thrilling 30 shelf with the other ones, so like Whirl and Springer and all those ones as well. So it does scale really nicely, because there was figures that were coming out at or a bit before actually, but we had like Warbot Defender, was it, that came out? Yeah. We had Warbot Defender and Assaulter and those ones as well, but they were kind of more your deluxe size. But it was this one, the form of it, and the alt mode, how much it collapses down. And it does take a bit of kind of aligning to get it, but it was the quality of it as well. And this was, this was a 50 quid figure when I got it as well.
It's mad to think now, isn't it? Because that price, honestly, now, sort of however many years on, you just don't see third-party toys for that kind of sum.
8 years, 8 years ago, and it's just like it's just kind of mad as well.
You don't really see much for that sort of price nowadays, other than like mainline, retail Transformers. But
even then,
certainly third party. Even then, not many.
Deluxes are getting towards that price point now.
They are
25 to 30 quid.
Yeah,
because it was like Spartan when it came out was £70. The Komotas must have been, I think, as well. Komotas suffered from that, like wasn't maybe that well known, and suffered from maybe not a fan favorite or whatever, but also at this time the third party scene was getting quite busy, wasn't it? And there was a lot of different things to choose from, and there was a lot of combiners, a lot of money that you were throwing at
Komotus
stuff.
You might say.
Hey,
good
there we
God.
go. Boom.
Wow.
There we done.
On top form tonight.
But as figures go, it was just like, it was an easy choice. As soon as we started talking about this, because
it's a great choice.
It's heaven for the fun of the figure in the posability of it. It's what a masterpiece is for me. That's what I want.
I regret not picking this one up. I really do.
Yeah, it's interesting. So in terms of the character Turmoil, it came up recently actually, because I posted a picture of something which I will share with you here. Mm-hmm. And a few people commented that this looked like a G1 Turmoil almost. So I'm going to share.
I think I know what it's going to be. I think I know what it's going to be.
Here we go.
There it is.
I love it.
So this
really does.
It really does. This is a GoBot. This is kind of a GoBot. It is a GoBot's toy, but it's actually a licensed thing. It's something that was licensed for the GoBots line. It's the convertible laser gun. That's its name. It doesn't actually have a name other than that. But I posted a picture of it, and I love this thing. And
so cute.
It looks like it could almost be related to G1 Shockwave. It's very much that vibe. But it does actually look a little bit like a G1 Turmoil.
Man, it really does.
So good.
Now you said it. I like the fact it's got a GoBot sticker on his leg.
Yeah, it totally is.
Just so you're in no doubt.
It's got Shockwave's groin and legs.
Yeah. The second you mentioned it, I knew what it was, and it was like, it's got to be that.
Totally.
And
that is his head.
You can see it straight
That's too
away.
funny.
Yeah. I suppose you wouldn't have seen Turmoil much in the comics yet, would
you? No, I haven't. So it was one for me that I'd heard the name, but I was like, what? I had to kind of look it up.
Yeah.
But it's right to the side of me in this cabinet just here, and actually I've got it next to my Shockwave, my the G1 Shockwave mold. And they're not too dissimilar in terms of size, appearance, that kind of
Really?
stuff.
It's that big?
So
Wow.
it's quite a sizable
wow.
thing. Yeah. So they do. It's not as tall, but it's got the chunk and everything as well. So it's a little bit kind of wider than Shockwave. But yeah, it does look very similar.
You need to get Komotus now as well, just to put them side by side. That'd be brilliant. It's like
imagine
daddy and baby. That's brilliant.
Yeah. There you go.
So
but as soon as you started talking about turmoil, I just thought of this thing. But yeah, great choice, I think.
Cool. Yeah.
Great choice.
Good stuff. Got lots of heaven there. Lots of heaven.
Lots of heaven, yeah. Maybe people have been enabled, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Now start the fire, Liam. Let's go to hell.
Right, well, we've done the nice stuff. Now it's time for Jason to unleash those big hater vibes that we've all been waiting for.
Oh.
Well, we'll come to you in a minute, though, because we've got to do Liam first and then me. And then I hope you've got something good for us, Jason. I really do.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
We'll see. But before then, we actually have a bit of a special message, don't we?
We do, yeah. So we want to give a shout out to our good friends, Toyfu, who are raising funds for Mary's Meals, as always, as part of TFN. And this year, the chats behind Thunderclash Goes Bananas. They've got a new comic that's coming out. So if you're not aware, the people behind this it features the work from Jim Stafford, Gavin Spence, Newt Phoenix, Ben Perry, Ed Perry, James Mars, Winston Chan, and many more besides as well. And one of our patrons, Brainstorm, sent us a link to this. And did you guys have a look? Did you see this? It's looking good, isn't it?
It looks great.
Yeah, it does look
great
really
bunch of lads
solid.
as well, no?
Really good top talent on there. Yeah,
at least 3 of them I'm going out for a drink in the pub with on Saturday.
Yeah,
3 of the people mentioned in that. Yeah,
nice.
A bit of a cameo from for one of us as well. No names mentioned.
Yes.
But the second tallest in the group. So
me? Am I in it?
Right. Is that the scale chart? Get the scale chart out.
Small, far away.
Yeah, we're all on the chart, Liam. That's the important thing.
That's it. Yeah. You can't see you because you're off screen. That's all.
as long as I've charted, that's all right.
Yeah, exactly. You've definitely charted. So
it looks superb. It's going to be a proper treat as well. At the moment, not sure how many copies there will be available at TFN, but get fast over to Toyfu, grab a copy. That's what you want to do, and it's as I say, all to support of Mary's Meals. So a very good thing to grab when you're heading over to TFN.
Yeah, we've mentioned Mary's Meals a couple of times as well in relation to Toyfu and other things as well on this podcast, and it really is a worthy cause, helping to feed starving children in some of the world's poorest countries. So you get great comic and you get to do a good thing. There's really no downside to that.
It's a win-win, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a win-win. Absolutely. Yeah. Feeding starving kids, there really is nothing better, no better cause. So absolutely go and get this comic, I think.
Seconded. Good stuff.
Thirded.
And thanks to Brainstorm for giving us a link to this as well. Great stuff.
Very much so. Yeah, indeed. And not to go from such a high to such a low, but Liam, it's time for your hell choice, mate.
Road to hell.
Are we there already, are we? As soon as this drops in, you'll know exactly why, and I'm assuming you will possibly one day be thinking of choosing this yourself. It's an X-Transbots toy.
I knew it was going to be. Oh, man.
How could you?
Liam, it's not just an X-Transbots toy. It's the X-Transbots toy, right? Or one of them,
X-Trashbots more like with this toy. Blood, yeah.
So, this is going to be interesting.
For those of you not on this video and unable to see this picture, it is X-Transbots Ollie. Infamous wheelie alike. But now this is a toy of its time, and it wasn't a good time. Let's say that. So when I initially got this, I didn't think it was as bad as people thought, but it only cost me £20.
Okay.
So it's like, oh, this isn't that terrible.
It was very cheap.
And then I transformed it, and I was like, yeah, you are right. It was very cheap.
It was worth a tenner.
Cheap plastics and the cheap quality, and like the robot mode is quite deceptive to look at. You're like, oh, that looks fine. It looks like cartoon wheelie. Done a great job with the way it looks. Handling it is not the same, and it has one of the most terrible looking alt modes, and it's not even the most terrible looking
the
wheelie
alt mode
mode
is bad, yeah.
But it kind of just looks like someone has stamped on Wheelie's vehicle mode.
It's like
it?
a suppository. Oh dear.
Whoa, Jason! Solero flavored suppository.
Sorry, sir. What vibes are these that you're bringing?
Oof, he's building us up for his hell choice later. It's
Oh
going to be
my
the
God.
Dark Jason is here.
What toys are you thinking of?
Oh no, that's horrible. Oh, I'm disturbed.
It's the toys that made us angry. But
Made
this
you
toy,
something.
it's weird because the robot mode looks really good.
It does. It does look really good. Yeah.
Have you ever owned this, Jason? Sixo,
No.
you have, haven't you? You've
No.
handled. I think you handled this.
Still own this. I still own this. I still have this.
It's set such a low bar. I don't think any other third party has touched wheelie since.
That's the thing. There's no other Masterpiece style wheelie. This is the only one, as far as I'm aware.
So no one's touched your wheelie, Liam? Is that what you just said?
Jason, what's going on?
Not in a wheelie long time, Jason.
What's going on?
Not in a wheelie long time.
Oh,
but
God.
It's really
I think
bad.
we had the test shot, didn't we, Sixo, for the second version? There was a version 2.
I don't think I even had that. I had both of these, the version 1 and 2. The version 1 I had, and yeah, it was a bit QC error ridden. You know, it wasn't great.
Can't move his legs forward. That was always a really strange thing.
That was
the
a
hip
problem.
skirt is molded as a single piece.
Single piece, yeah. It was really odd design. You had to kind of, even in the picture you posted, you can sort of see you have to sort of twist and tilt the legs at the hips to the sides to kind of go around the hip skirt.
Oh, really?
Bad design. Very bad design. I will say the version 2, in my opinion, and I caught some flack for this at the time because I voiced this opinion at the time, was much improved. Even the hip skirt, they tweaked it so that you could actually bend the legs forward, stuff like that a little bit. And a lot of the QC problems were kind of ironed out, and it was still not brilliant, but it was better, certainly.
Solidarity with that one, brother, because I had the test shot for that. They sent me that, and I took photos of it and sort of messed with it, and you could see all the parts that were new, if you know what I mean, the bits that had been changed.
Yes.
And I thought the test shot was good, but apparently people hated the actual final version. I don't know if it was different, but the test shot was way better than this, like in every respect. Because this has this weird thing with you transform the back of it. And I don't know if you remember, like you had to bend plastic around like the hips.
Oh, really?
It didn't just fold out like it feels like it's meant to. You physically had to bend it around something. You're like, it's not going to last long. And it's really soft plastic as well.
Yes, it relied on the softness of the plastic. The designers required the plastic to be malleable almost to try and force bits past other bits where there was no clearance. So it was,
Who made this again?
X-Transbots.
Oh, okay. Right. Okay.
Liam was always going to pick an X-Transbot. He was always going to pick a Keith toy. Of course he was.
Hey, I liked some of their toys. The Scourge was nice. The Reflector was fantastic. It's probably the best of the 3 reflectors they did.
This is the thing about Keith toys is that they do some amazing ones. They always have done some amazing toys. And then they just get the odd, inexplicable lemon. And you're like, what happened here? Do you know what I mean?
It's even so that bizarre. Alt mode. That alt mode looks entirely unfinished. And the paint apps are poor. It's like that pink on... what is that?
The flesh pink.
The fleshy pink, yeah. And then
the chest window.
The yellow, the grey. It's like they kind of just went, oh, let's just put a bit of grey blue there, and then the wheels are just so like in stark contrast. It's just not pleasant.
In fairness to them, nobody has been able to do a wheelie with the actual proper cartoon style alt mode and the cartoon robot mode. Seems to do one because it has to do a lot of work to move between those two drawings, really, isn't it? And I think it's the one toy that seems they can't get it right, because even though there've been 2 Hasbro ones that have both been really good, but neither of them look like the alt mode from the cartoon, like in the Studio Series 86 one.
Are you thinking of the perpetually sitting wheelie? Are you thinking of that one that came with Studio Series Grimlock? that little thing that is forever cursed to sit in a little perpetual sitting position.
Yeah, Victor von Crouchenstein.
Yeah.
Does he? So the Grimlock I missed. I don't have that figure, and I've always wanted it. And I didn't realize the wheelie just a non-transformation.
No articulation. Yeah.
Oh really? Oh no.
I think you can move one of his arms. I think that's about it.
Sneaky.
I think you're right. Yeah. But did you see the accessory that has been made for that thing to kind of make sense of
the toilet?
Can you go in the toilet? Yeah. Oh no,
Yeah.
really?
Oh my God. I'm going to post a picture of it. Here you go, because this is just. And as we're talking about third party, check this out.
Yeah.
Porcelain throne.
Oh
Brilliant.
God.
That's Fumby Studios, isn't it? It's like
It was.
a printable thing.
Yeah.
3D printing.
You got one of those, I assume, Liam, because you've got all of toilets.
You know what? This one is not part of my collection.
Is it not?
Collection of loos. No.
I want that.
But what do you call it? It's this toy just it's not great. Like the Studio Series 86 one is way better. But again, that car mode on that looks nothing like the car mode
Right.
From the actual,
cartoon. And I think it's kind of it's hard to criticize them for not being able to get that. But then when you look at what they did, it kind of looks like the face of a duck, doesn't it? It's kind of got that whole
it's a very
vibe.
generic face on this thing. The face sculpt is kind of like it was from that sort of era where there were a couple of toys like this as well. The KFC Blaster kind of had this thing as well, where it's kind of like almost like a little porcelain doll face. You know, it's kind of not really any kind of facial features to it or anything kind of distinguishable. Yeah, I agree. It's fair critiques of this thing.
It's a shame though, because that robot mode in that image there does look good. You know,
it's not bad, honestly.
Yeah, it does look good, and it's
and then you have to transform it.
Yeah,
well, exactly.
The thing is, like, I think some of it you could forgive, but the materials they use were horrible. It's that really soft plastic. It's an unpleasant experience all around.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I still have this thing, as I say, I haven't transformed it in, I can't remember how long, years and years, honestly, and I probably never will again, just because it sits sort of in its place as the only Masterpiece-styled wheelie that exists right now, and that is the only reason it's in my house.
Right,
you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it's one that Fans Toys will do eventually, because they'll do everything eventually. And the people that have this will forget about it forever at that point, you know, and kind of sub it out for
bury it
for Fans Toys. Yeah, exactly. Just fire it off into space. I mean, it's a shame because it could have been pretty good, actually, I think. And the car mode is kind of not the best, but it's also not the worst. But it is. It's not that bad, you know. The car mode. It's one of those where it's compromised, but it's kind of, as Liam sort of said, the idea of how you convert, but you know, a wheelie toy between the two modes, it's very difficult to do, and so it's kind of like, and plus, which have you looked at Wheelie's car mode in the film? I mean, it's not that far off this thing, honestly.
It's you see, you say that, but then when you look at it, like Wheelie's car mode is a lot sort of taller, almost. You know, it's got a really nice sci-fi. It's got a really nice sci-fi vibe. Where when you actually look at it, it's like it's quite a neat little thing, and no one's able to get near it. I've just posted a picture of the test shot for the version 2.
I really like that photo. It's great. That's cool.
You can see the hips are actually able to move forward.
Yeah.
Because of the
That's
flaps.
cool. Yeah,
that was definitely a better version, but this was not a good toy. I did almost choose old Bad Cube War Dog. Do you remember that?
I do, but you know, I'm going to come out with my controversial opinion here. I thought of War Dog earlier because I know not many people like it. I did. I always enjoyed it.
It looks great. The road mode looks great. Oh man, I'm going to say that for the next one because it's got the worst transformation, the most horrific transformation ever.
I quite enjoyed it.
No, you don't. You're lying.
Yes.
You're being a contrarian. That's what you're doing.
No.
I know what you're doing.
I quite enjoyed the transformation on that
the
thing.
Chat, everybody.
Exactly. Actually, I think you'll find
it was enjoyable.
Well, actually,
yes. Revisionist history. No, I did. I quite enjoyed Bad Cube War Dog, but let's save that for next time. You can
that's
more on that later.
Yeah, exactly. You can convince me on why that was a bad transformation next go round. How's that?
But I think Liam bringing us right down to hell. I can feel the flames, you know, and the heat's going up. So Sixo, over to you then.
The heat is on.
Okay.
Whoa.
Here we go. So I feel bad now because I've chosen a Keith product as well, Liam.
Oh.
Believe it or not. And it's not X-Transbots.
You're trying to keep us on track here.
Yeah. Always. That's all I ever do.
Keith
every episode.
Lowering the tone.
Yeah. Exactly. Love a bit of Keith. It's not X-Transbots though. It is KFC, Keith's Fantasy Club, the most ludicrously named third-party company of all
Never
time.
understood that.
Because nobody can help but mention the KFC, obviously, like everybody, that's what their first thought. But anyway, it's this thing Here you go.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Whoa.
It's a blast from the past.
We've got to stop picking Keith ones so we can give Keith a chance.
Oh, you know, you are great. You are great at taking photos, but even in this photo, you can't hide the issues with this figure.
There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Yeah, I've so this is KFC Stratatanker, which is their Octane.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's not even so much the fact that it's bad. It's just, I mean, it is bad, but it's just bleh. You know, it's just like nothing burger. Honestly, you know, like it's just nothing to it.
Nothing burger.
You know, it's like there's absolutely no flavor to this whatsoever. It's a
Big
completely
instead of a Big Mac.
It really is. It's a completely sauceless toy, is what I would say. Do you know what I mean? There's just nothing enticing about it, or kind of like appealing in any real way, shape, or form. You know,
Tastes like a gherkin.
Yeah, it really does. It's just like a generic looking facsimile of what the character is vaguely meant to look like.
Yeah, totally.
You know, no personality to it really whatsoever. It's a chore to transform. It's got some inexplicable design choices which just should not exist on a transforming robot of any kind, official or otherwise. It's got a poor finish. It's bland. It's just nothing really to kind of say about it. I don't hate it, but at the same time, I sort of find it deeply unappealing. You know, like you look at it and you're kind of, it makes you feel a little bit sad almost. Like you're a bit kind of like, you know.
Well, it just, because I remember this coming out, and I remember thinking that I saw it and was like, oh, that's a nice prototype. And then I was like, oh, that's the finished version.
Yeah.
Because it looks unfinished. It looks like, you know, it looks like they just got bored in the legs and just kind of went, let's just make it a curvy panel with some slabs for feet, and the little skirt, it just scale, all the panels don't quite fit with the scale of the figure, and it's tricky. I've never actually had it in hand, but it just looks very chunky up top. All the kind of form is just wrong. You know, it's like I was saying earlier about Komotus, and the actual, I always think a good test for any kind of figure and stuff like that is in the silhouette and how it looks.
The silhouette on this is poor, No, all credit to
mild cheddar. That's what it is.
Yeah, it is. It is
mild
kind of a bit of that. Yeah,
cheddar.
It is
bland, and why even bother? Why has it only got one stripe on the wing as well? Am I seeing that right? That's not lights, is it?
No. It is like that.
Really?
I think you are right. It is a very bland toy, honestly. Like it's just kind of personalityless, really. Is. I don't know. Now, all credit to them, because this is a hard design to do well with Octane. You know, you've got to take a thing that turns into a tanker truck and a Concorde and a decent robot mode. And that's clearly not going to happen with great ease. I mean, even the G1 toy has the ridiculous compromise of a wheel on the roof in both the alt modes, you know? So,
does he turn into a Concorde, this one?
Is it a Concorde? It's a Concorde, right?
No, it's
no.
Jet.
It's a passenger jet. What am I about? Concorde. What am I about? Sorry, It's a jumbo jet kind of thing, isn't it? So
it is. It's like 737 type.
Yeah, not Concorde. Sorry, I'm having a mad moment there for a second.
You're going crazy there, Sixo.
Absolutely wild.
It's on the crazy juice.
Getting your passenger liners mixed up like that.
Exactly.
Dude.
God.
Somewhere Maz is having kittens now. He's like, I'm going to have to come back in and usurp Sixo.
One's got a pointy nose, one's has a stub nose. There you go.
Yeah, you've summoned him again now, Liam.
Yeah. It's going to be a massive attack. But so I'm in a right punny mood tonight.
You are
a punny mood.
Taking your funny pills.
Goodness,
see, punny mood is a joke within a joke.
It is. I'm using that.
There's layers to this game, Sixo. Layers to this game. But
good God.
But the funny thing about this toy is the initial just drawings they showed off for it.
Were great.
Concept art, they looked fantastic. Yeah. It was like, oh man, that's going to be brilliant. Then you saw the actual toy, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, that's the thing. I swear there was a good design for this, because the initial drawings looked great. Honestly, there was some good stuff going into it, you know, and it felt like quite a promising project, like all throughout. Even though Dick
took ages, didn't it? As well,
it did take ages.
Really long.
It was quite long gestating, and it does have I hate saying this about anything, because this is something that when people say this about toys, I generally eye roll a little bit, because I'm like, come on. but it does feel a bit unfinished. It feels like it was sort of half baked. Like it really just could have like sat for a bit longer and just been finessed.
Absolutely.
Just worked on a bit more.
It looks like that. It looks like did they do other triple changes?
Yeah,
as well?
so they did Ditka, and we know how that turned out.
Yeah, of course.
We've covered that. Never speak its name again.
Yeah. Oh dear. But even that, we talked about that before. But I remember nodding when you guys were chatting about that because it just again looked unfinished, a lot orange.
I mean, that is better than this, I think.
Really?
Maybe.
Wow. Okay.
I don't know.
What, Ditka?
I don't know. Maybe I don't.
Controversial opinions again.
No. This looks less terrible than that. That's a start.
Yeah,
this looks less.
I don't know. I'd probably take Ditka over this, maybe. Honestly, so here are the alt modes.
Oh, all right. Oh, okay.
Maybe. I mean, look. What are we arguing between here, really? These two toys. Do you know what I mean? Like, look at the playing field we're on here. There's no winners with this matchup, is there? So I don't know. Look at the two alt modes. It's hard because again, I think they have their strengths. The general shape is there. Doesn't look much like a Concorde, but never mind.
The wing stripe is there though. So
you missed that completely. I just said Concorde again, and you're just going to let me get away with it.
Let it go.
Honestly.
Yeah,
I like to let it fly sometimes.
Right. Oh, very good, very good. But you're right. The wing shape is there. The general shape of that kind of jet is there.
But the stripe is on the other wing, but it's not in the robot mode.
Yeah, true.
Why is that? Is it does it flip over or something?
Yeah, you can see there's a rotational joint in that middle bit, can't you?
Yeah, because in the robot mode, the stripe is only on one wing, but in the jet mode, it's on both. Is there some kind of weird transformational shenanigans there?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. The big thing about the plane mode is that it doesn't squeeze together very well. So you can see it's basically like big panels for the front of it that fold out from the sides of the legs and kind of like wrap around, and it's like a shell. But it really doesn't kind of clip together very cohesively at all. The worst thing is, though, is that that's not even the worst bit of this whole alt mode. It's the back end, which is the really egregious part. It's just ugly as all sin. It's just a mash of parts that have been kind of formed into the general vague shape of what it should look like. But it's wholly visually unappealing. Here we go. If I show you a picture from the side view, this is a really old picture of mine, but you can see from the side view what this looks like.
Whoa.
I mean... You feel me now? Look at the way that the two sort of like the back end of it, the gap is sort of connects.
Yeah,
it's like Lego. Just bad. It really does, honestly. And you can see like the wheels from the front of the truck mode, sort of in the rear fin there, and things. It's just not tidy at all. There's just compromise all over. It's one of those
for flight at all, would it?
No, you really wouldn't. It's one of those where you really kind of have to work hard to get it into this mode. And then the end result is like, really?
Sucks as well, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, this was not worth it,
Yeah.
And I remember the first version of this I had like a test shotty version, and this happened.
Oh.
The rear fin broke off completely.
Jeez.
So I think the screw just came out or something. But like completely threaded out. Do you know what I mean? It's just kind of like, you can see it's broken. And it's just very poor, honestly. Poor quality, bad design, overcomplicated, but somehow not finessed enough. I don't know, just bad.
Octane is a real difficult one to go from those two modes. Like, I don't think any toy has ever really accomplished it well. Like, the vintage toy is the vintage toy, but like all the modern reinterpretations just don't land it. Do you remember is it DX9 Provider? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like, I remember the transformation of that was just, it was horrendous. It was because it has to be so complex to try and get to reasonable alt modes. And that one, the jet mode looks way better than this. But,
quite stylized thing, wasn't it? I never handled it, but yeah.
Oh, did you not?
No.
Do you think this one maybe suffered from the fact that they tried to do too much? Because I'm trying to find something good to say about this thing, but on that plane mode,
sweet Jason, sweet innocent Jason,
trying to be nice. But it's like they're trying to put. They tried to put a lot of detail. They put some holes in it to make it look like windows, didn't they? No, it's just don't like it.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say you're trying to defend it, but really, there's not a lot good to say about that jet
There's
mode.
not, is there? It just looks really, really clumsy.
And the thing is,
so
I can accept that one of the three modes is going to have some compromise. I can live with that. You know, I've often said this about triple changes, that there is kind of one mode that sometimes struggles a little bit to kind of make up, you know, the sort of to allow the other two to be really shining.
Yeah,
you just don't get that sense here, though. Like, the plane mode is the worst by far. I will say that the tanker truck mode is not bad. You know, like, it's
that's fine.
Yeah, that really is good. Like, well, not fine. It's probably fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It does its job.
Yeah, it does. It's adequate. It's less than adequate.
It's fine.
It's okay.
Yeah,
it's it's very milk toast, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Mild cheddar. It's just there's nothing great about it. It doesn't do anything wrong. It just looks very inoffensive.
It's inoffensive. It's no one's going to write home about it, but no one's going to, have an off day about it either. The one cool thing about this was that you could detach the truck segment from the rear tanker, which was kind of cool. So I did kind of like that for it, but I think that then compromised the plane mode, because it kind of had that kind of gappy thing where it was kind of that back part was having to kind of clip on almost. And the transformation of it was just horrible as well. So I don't know, for whatever strengths the truck mode does have, and it's a little bit, it absolutely does not make up for the other two. That's the thing. And the robot mode is so generic. I mean, look at the face, honestly.
Yeah,
I was going to say that earlier about that.
Yeah,
the face looks like it's just kind of generic and unfinished, and not like a mask. It looks just like
it's what I said earlier about Ollie.
Mask.
It's like that porcelain mask thing, with just completely unexpressionless, nothing to it. Just awful, honestly. And I have to tell you, looking at these pictures again has made me realise how much I dislike those hands. Those like hyper-articulated hands with all the joints and everything. It's horrible.
Yeah, totally.
Just look like skeleton hands. But this toy kind of looks like they bit off more than they could chew with it. Because if remember the design of it, the initial pictures, and you're like, oh, this looks like it could be great. And then it kind of looks like they got the tanker mode and a robot mode out of it. And we're like, these are okay. The jet mode.
That'll do, yeah.
Yeah, they just couldn't do it in the end. And in the end, instead of, realizing when they should stop and just call it a day and say, let's not bother putting this out, they've just gone, we've kind of committed to it now. We've got this far. Let's just stick it out and say to hell with it, because that, like, as a retail product, man, I know people don't have to buy it, but it's not on at the end.
No,
like, when you look
I
at
agree.
the side view, those gaps,
it's poor. Yeah, it's very, very poor.
It is poor.
Yeah.
Each mode looks unfinished. Like the going back to the tanker and just that's the wing, but couldn't they have put some detailing? This is a kind of masterpiece level figure, isn't it? It just yeah. I can imagine this wasn't cheap either when it came out. We were talking over £100. So
I just looked back at my original review of this thing back in 2017. And I gave it a 1 out of 5. So there you go.
There we go. Okay, that says it all. That's definitely a hell.
Even the front of the jet, it looks like an angry bird.
It does.
Yeah, it really does. Oh my god! I'm not going to unsee that.
Bad. It's just so awful.
Yeah,
it totally is. It's the little yellow guys. Yeah, little pointy yellow guy.
Oh my god! It's just awful. And the thing is, you look at Octane's character model. Even putting the alt modes to one side, look at Octane's character model. I'll post it here for you in the chat from his cartoon model. That has got some sauce, right? That's got some personality to it. And look at the thing they turned in as a sort of approximation of that in robot mode.
It's not.
Like, at least get the robot mode, but it's just with the kind of jutting chest and. I know it's an awkward design to do, but this was not it, man. Honestly,
didn't work. Well, that's definitely a hell. I'll give you that.
It needed a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 15th, 17th, 18th, 19th pass.
It really did, yeah. Or just not do it. Just don't do it.
Just leave it. Yeah, just go, you know what? This didn't work.
Does the world need a masterpiece Octane? That's the question that we're all asking ourselves at this point. Maybe not. No one's tried to make one since, so there's a reason. Him and
That's
Wheelie.
True. Yeah, there you go. So, just some things are best left alone.
Just leave it. Doesn't matter. It's fine. Yeah. So come on then, Jason. Can you top that?
I've been excited for this.
Oh,
I don't. So I'm going to caveat this. As
of course you are.
No. Don't ruin our hopes and dreams now, Jason. Come on, man.
The classic Jason caveat.
The landing.
I'm going to cause. So you said earlier, as controversial opinions go, okay. So my hell, which I've noted as not entirely hell, but
Jason, commit to the bit, man. Come on,
because it's this guy, Mastermind Creations Cyclops, which is the IDW Hearts of Steel Shockwave.
This is quite a popular toy, right? Like
this is a very popular toy.
I told you, it's what I said. He picks a bloody popular toy, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't really care for it, actually."
Well, I'm trying to find words to reply with because I'm looking at it and I'm trying to work out how we're making this leap because it's like I don't think this toy is meant to be like great, but I don't think there's anything wrong.
No. So I do have. There is a Jace rationale to this. So bear with me, gentlemen, as we go on a Jason journey here.
Sojourn
of MMC. So I've chosen both MMCs. A Jason journey.
Oh,
exactly. So this is my hell. This is my hell, as you're aware, and.
I knew he'd do something odd, honestly.
It's definitely a curveball.
Yeah.
I knew there'd be something.
And the thing about this that I have written here in front of me... Can't just pick a toy
he dislikes and talk about it, can he? He can't just be like, this toy is crap. He's got to...
I love this figure. I absolutely love this figure.
It's not hell, then. It completely destroys the format of the episode.
Is it like the one you love the least? Is that the kind of rationale you're going with? Like,
there is my rationale. Okay, so this was my
third child or something.
Exactly. This was my first third-party figure, right? So this came out. There's a story. There's a story here we have. And I'm trying to think when this came out. So I remember seeing it was PO did a review of this, and I was like totally taken. I love the aesthetic of the kind of the whole idea of the steampunk and that IDW comic and what they created. They're amazing. And,
really creative, yeah.
Absolutely, super creative. And the alt mode for this is, which I'm sure you're aware, is the Steam paddle ship.
It's a Don Figueroa, isn't it? It is.
That's right. Yeah, and it comes with one of the best additional little mini subs. So you get a mini submarine with it, of like a tiny little version of Shockwave, which is the cutest little thing ever, and really fun. You can see him standing next to the original photo that I put there as
Sixo, well. Like, is he just selling the toy?
I know, right?
This is what's happening.
Still singing the benefits,
building it up to knock it down.
You saw the atrocity that I just posted, right? Like you've and the thing that Liam
has to go
about. I know, right?
Did you give him the correct brief?
I thought worst third-party toys ever was a fairly clear and concise brief. I have to say, but...
So I love it. I love the steampunk vibe,
Jason.
But the problem, is this transformer is so stressful to transform because it has approximately 200 tiny little pieces of plastic clips for every kind of 1 centimeter of this thing, and it's big, right? So I got this. I had watched PO's review. He'd warned me, and he managed to kind of break off about 12 during the transformation. And I have transformed this a total of once in my entire life.
One time.
Yeah, so I went from the ship, which is stunning, to the robot, and got there. I think I lost 1 clip during the transformation, and I would never touch it again in transformation. And that's why it's my hell, because it's so painful to have such a great toy that looks stunning in both. It looks stunning in both modes, but I'll never put it back into its alt mode because it is such a unforgiving transformation. And interestingly, whilst I was doing a bit of research and finding that other image of the alt mode, one of our patrons, Dear Brave, had I found a post that he'd put on a Reddit board that there's actually a V2 version of this where they removed all of those clips because it wasn't actually needed. So originally everyone was saying you don't want to lose those, you'll lose the kind of because it can actually float supposedly in water. This sub as well. It's that well kind of engineered and clipped together.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
it's another benefit that you're singing up again, honestly.
No.
Well, another great thing about this awful third-party toy that I actually love.
It will never do that on my version because I can never get it back into alt mode because I'm too scared to lose all those pins and everything.
I think it's good you mentioned Sid because I think Sid was involved in this, wasn't he?
He was, yeah.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Really? That makes sense.
I believe so.
Because this is the thing. It was one of those figures that I remember seeing it, and this is the beginning for me for third party, right? And I have quite a nominal collection of third party toys, but I've never been sent any third party toys or anything to review. So my ones are all, I've chosen them. I've done a bit of research, and I've bought them, and they're in my collection, and I don't sell stuff either, so it's like I did take a lot of time thinking about this. So when I was trying to choose a hell, I do love all of them,
right,
but I kept coming back to this one because I was like, as I say, it's a hell because I can't actually enjoy it for the purpose that I got it.
I get you. That makes sense.
In these two
and to be fair, when you're in that, I mean, we talked about it on episode 54, but when you're in that sort of third party review circuit, and the real hellishness of that, and Liam will attest to this, is when you get sent some absolute dog shit in the post, and you're like, it's the thing is you have to review it then. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to put the thing through its paces and kind of, well, you don't have to, I suppose. But yeah, it's the sort of being forced into reviewing stuff that you just absolutely passionately loathed, and having to put it through its paces or whatever. So yeah, I can imagine if you're not doing that and just actually doing your research and buying the stuff, then you're probably going to have slightly less strong opinions on things.
Yeah, that was it. And it was a bit of a shame for MMC because it didn't put me off their line of what they were doing, because I obviously bought other figures from what they were creating as well. But it did put me off the Night Morphers kind of line, with all the other ones, because I was just like, I have a bit of a thing about any breakages on any of my toys that I get as well.
Wasn't this the last one?
No, this was the first. This was like one of the early ones.
No, the first was
for Night Morphers. Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry, it was
Optimus Train, and then there was. Did they do the Megatron as a cannon, or was that? Yeah, no, because there was that, and then they were going to do the Insecticons as well, but I don't know if they ever actually came out.
No, they didn't do them, and I would have loved to have seen those as well.
Yeah, I think they were like test shots of them, weren't they? I think they were announced but never actually.
Do you know the thing is though, and this is kind of why I thought it was quite fun to choose this figure as well though, because, and it's really good that you chose Feral Rex, Sixo, because if we didn't have Cyclops and they didn't go through this process of that kind of learning and doing that kind of engineering, then we wouldn't have got a figure like that maybe was so well done. It didn't have lots of kind of fiddly bits that could break and all that kind of stuff. They really got to a point where they learned and they engineered. And that was the thing with a lot of third-party companies. Some excelled at it and got the designers in and the engineers in that didn't have that legacy that Hasbro and Takara have got to be able to create stuff like this.
That's such a good observation, yeah.
And they were just learning as they were going. And without Cyclops, we wouldn't get those new ones. So
yeah, I completely agree. I've often said about third party is a really interesting example because you see where those learnings have not been made at times, whereas like, as you said, Jason, when you get like Hasbro and Takara stuff that is just slick beyond belief, and all right, there are compromises sometimes because of budget or whatever, and sometimes things don't work in the way they should, and mistakes are made. Of course they are. It's inevitable. But generally speaking, the quality of design and the smoothness of the design is such that they have engineered this stuff in a way that just works, works well, and works in a way that you can put it in the hands of a child and have it work, so it's all specifically geared towards that. Whereas third party doesn't have any of those kind of considerations, really. It can just be whatever the designers and the people making it want it to be. It can be as complicated as they want it to be. It can be as intricate as they want it to be, and that's why you end up, I think, with so many products that, because they're all trying to make it look, exactly how they want it to, you end up with products that are horrendous to transform because there's not that same consideration about, oh, actually, this needs to be a kind of manageable process for the person doing it. It actually needs to be pleasurable in some way to manipulate this object between modes. And I can think of many nightmarish transformations on third-party products for this exact reason. And I do understand your point. I mean, I would cite something like DNA Design Susanoo as a toy that I owned. I think it's the only toy DNA
bludgeon?
Design ever made. It was their bludgeon,
I remember
it's
that.
the only toy they ever made that wasn't like an upgrade kit or whatever. And they did the one, and that was it. The thing with that was it's a similar thing where it looked amazing. Like, in terms of the look of the toy, superb in both modes. It looks at particularly the robot mode, stunning looking thing. But to transform it, my God, I would honestly rather eat my own shins than transform that thing. I can.
I don't know why you said
so
shins
bad.
and not.
Right, yeah.
You were, sticking
levels,
to the kind
Liam. There are
of parental
levels.
Advisory.
There are levels with these things, of course. The extremes.
It was good.
As I mentioned earlier, I feel exactly the same about War Dog. That was the other one. Like,
right.
The transformation was so horrific and horrendous, it put me off the toy.
And
when I sold it to someone because I disliked it so much, I refused to transform it back, so I made them come and collect it. Because I didn't want to put. I had the box. I just didn't want to transform it to put it back into the box.
Yeah,
and it was so horrible, such an awful experience. Like, just that bloody toy.
It's actually quite good. But...
It looks great, but it was not good.
Transformation's quite good fun, actually, but.
Just a lie. Contrarian Sixo has slid back into our DMs.
It's quite good fun, I think. Well, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah, that's it. That's gonna be an entire episode in itself.
Third party Stockholm syndrome. That's what you've got.
No, it's quite good fun, I think.
It's called Bad Cube for a reason.
Bad cube. It's a cube of bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Quite a fun process, though.
A lot of people ask me about, like, if I had to choose one Transformer that I keep, I always say it's Bumblebee because it's the first one I got, but it'd probably be Cyclops because same as you, Liam, I wouldn't be able to get it back in the box because it needs to be in alt mode. So I'd be like, nah, can't get rid of that one.
Not
Sorry.
doing it.
It's boxed, but outside of the box,
To be fair, it looks amazing in the robot mode. Like, I really think
So both modes, considering this was like, I think 2012, 2011, this came out, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful, and that's why it's such a hard choice as well. Because it is such a great design. They did an amazing job. You can see the chain. That's a real metal chain that's coming out there as well for the anchor and stuff as well. It's
almost like third party royalty. This thing, in a weird way. It's got that kind of prestige about it, as like it ushered in a sort of new thing, a new era or whatever. I don't want to say era, maybe, because it's sort of a bit more of an individual project, but it definitely did something,
because it feels, there's a lot of, it's got panel lines on it, it's got like bolts, like individual bolts. It was that thing, isn't it, where you just get lots of it was an issue. A lot of people complained about it with Megatron, didn't they, for MP? A lot of tabs and all this kind of stuff, and that can just be frustrating. But because the plastic on this is so solid, that's why it's so unforgiving. There's the opposite of wheelie is no give at all, and and you have to kind of crack the shell to open it, and if you just don't do that quite right,
before you crack the nuts inside
after.
Eggs, there we go.
But it is that thing, though, isn't it? Like, sometimes you have to have a toy that kind of sets the bar at a new level. It kind of has to do a few things that maybe aren't that fun to achieve something to show it can be done in the first place. Like this, I always remember the transformation. I've never held it or done it, but I know people who got it when it came out, and I remember the scuttlebutt of the time was people complaining about the complexity of the transformation. And like you guys were saying earlier, it's such a third party thing, isn't it, when they're not making it as a toy for kids and they're not considering that play value. It is just, how do we get it from this mode, and they can make it as intricate and thingy as they want without really thinking about that, having to make it fun at the same time. It is just about how do we make it look great in two modes.
Exactly. Totally. It's almost that they were sort of what's the quote, the Jurassic Park thing, they were so pre-concerned with whether they could that they didn't stop to think if they should, kind of thing. It's a bit of that with third parties sometimes, where it's like they're so determined to get to an end point that like the sort of consideration around how is this going to work, and that it's like, because they can just do literally anything. And like, this is a good example where you can have all of these little bells and whistles and features and finishes on it and things in a way that you wouldn't get on a sort of more mass market toy. Even a premium thing wouldn't have some of that, and it's almost...
Is it fun?
I'm not specifically talking about this toy, to be fair, but I'm using it as an example. There are lots of third-party toys like this where they become almost a bit... No, I think that's genuinely that's a fun toy for a fun transformation.
You don't genuinely think that?
No, I do. I genuinely genuinely think that. Yeah, no, I do.
Really?
But other toys, other third-party toys that are less fun than War Dog, it's almost like there's no limit to it, but no. Yes, but there's. It's almost like they can do absolutely anything they want with it. And maybe they shouldn't in some cases. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's having that limitation sometimes is what makes a better toy in a weird way. I don't know.
This kind
sounds
of
a lot like you're talking about War Dog there.
This is
save it for next time.
It goes in complete contrast to what you chose.
There's no saving that toy.
Oh, no, he's gone. That's it.
He's just off on one now.
No, that's it. He's probably going to buy another one. That's what he's trying to bring the price down. That's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
But that's it. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because my choice is one that is like got so many bells and whistles and so much kind of complexity to it and so much detail that it has made it not fun from a transformation point of view. Whereas when you were talking about the kind of Octane and just how that just was bland and it was the other spectrum. And this is the thing about, we take for granted, don't we, from Hasbro and Takara and how well they achieve this and what they're doing, but to make a toy that can go from one mode to another that looks great, that is fun to transform, that is a hard balance.
It is hard balance. As well. It is hard balance.
There's a lot of demands from people, isn't there? Like people want things to look great in all modes. So they want it to look like a cartoon. They want it to look like a comic, or it's got to look like something, and they've got to have all these expectations. And sometimes it's not realistic to get it there in a fun way. Something has to be sacrificed along the way. Like MP44, the Optimus Prime, is the classic one where people... I think there's a significant amount of people loathe that transformation. It's got a very bad reputation for it being overly complex. I'm sure Sixo is going to say he really enjoys it and it's fun. But
funny story.
but I've not handled it or transformed it. But from what I've gathered, is people don't like that, and it's a thing. And I think that's kind of like there is this kind of determination to push through a barrier. There's kind of setting a bar almost. It's breaking down some doors, and there's this kind of like. With engineers and stuff, you'll get that where they want to challenge themselves and do something. And to them, they maybe look at this like, was this? Or they maybe look at this and go, this is incredible that I managed to achieve this little step here and there. Whereas actually, from the retailer, as a customer, like a person just wanting to play the toy, you like having to go through these steps and you're like, oh my God, this is so confusing and complicated. And because we've all got toys that you don't necessarily pick up and transform for that reason, because you're like, oh, I've got to invest. Or it sounds like a MP Megatron. Was it 38?
36.
Yeah,
36. It's stunning in both modes, and I have no wish to ever transform it again because I've done it once and I think it took me like an hour. And I've done it twice actually, and I think it took me an hour.
I think it's quite good fun.
There he is. Instrument of contrarianism over there.
But we talk about this a lot, don't we? That the people will pick up an MP because that is the experience with an MP, where you're sitting there and you're going to spend potentially an hour and a half, whatever you want, just like enjoying that transformation for what it is. Like Sunstreaker is that for me. I love that transformation.
I love the transformation on Sunstreaker,
yeah. But equally, I'll happily pick up Trigger Happy Titan's Return because that just always makes me go, oh, that's cool when you do the little flip around. So
you can have long, involved, complex transformations that are still fun. It's just sometimes you'll get one where it's complex and confusing and it's not necessarily fun, but what it achieves is quite incredible. What it managed to do with the parts it's got and how it gets from the modes. But again, it doesn't make sense, if you know what I mean. Where you pick it up, it's not something where you can just do it yourself. Yeah, intuitive. That's exactly the word.
Intuitive, yeah.
Well, intuited.
Yeah.
Rika.
I've often maintained that I don't think that the rule that all complex transformations are bad rings true for me, because I think there are many complex transformations that are very enjoyable, actually.
Sunstreaker.
Yeah, Sunstreaker is a great example.
Tremendous.
Just as there are less complicated transformations that are also not fun, because it's because of the way
it's a weird thing,
together.
Isn't it?
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
It's not the complexity; it's how they're designed and the way that the things snap together and the way that bits move and tolerances, clearances, all of these things. It's the engineering involved and the kind of finesse of it. That's the bit that makes it fun or not fun.
Yeah, I think there's also that. I always love when you're transforming something and it does something that you don't expect.
Yeah.
So you kind of think, oh, I know how this is going to work. And you go, wait a minute, what am I doing? And, and then you're like, oh, that's so cool. And that in itself is like, that's quite rare. And I think that's why that's such a difficult thing to get right. And as I said, you can get that in an MP level, get it in a third party, but you could equally get it in like a Legacy or a Generations
for sure,
or something like that.
For sure. I do have something I just want to share with you real quick. Just talking about your old Shockwave there. Check this out. This is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So you got your
baby one.
Yeah, it's a baby one. But do you recognize the toy?
Oh, it's the Siege Shockwave.
It's well done. It's
I've
the
seen
Siege
this.
Shockwave. So this is
Who
a little.
Did this? It's a 3D printed one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a 3D printed one. It's Sam's Forge, who's on Twitter. Yeah, Sam Makes Toys, who many people will know. Very, very well known online. Incredible designer, incredible work. Some of the designs and things that they do are really quite noteworthy, and very creative. And this is a great example. So this is like a little bit of armor for Siege Shockwave that you can kind of put around him to kind of recreate that.
I wish someone
look.
had made this.
Yeah,
that's so cool.
Check this out. It actually transforms into a little boat as well. Look at this.
Oh my goodness. I need that.
You do. Put it with your large version.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
Isn't that clever?
I'm gonna find out. My dad's got a 3D printer. If I can get the part.
I'm going to message him about this again. Later, because I think I've asked him before. It's like, I should make that. I think I might message him again. Did
he just do like a one-off of it? And
no, I think
I
think he did. He 3D print it or
must have done.
It looks 3D printed. Yeah, that's so cool. I love
Mastodon. That's for later. That's for the
socials. Yeah, but it says here that apparently Shockwave loses no articulation when he's armored up, and then it actually kind of builds. I think sort of parts forms into the little vehicle as well.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's really solid. Love that. Yeah, I want that. And then because you've got the little sub as well, you'd have like 3 different versions. That's amazing.
Exactly.
So cool.
Yeah, there you go. So
great curveball, Jason.
I was going to say
a toy you love.
We got 2.
That's my hell.
2 hellish toys that were on brief, and 1 toy that Jason loves apparently and thinks is amazing. So just has one
my hell is so happy
minor thing that he's not so sure about. So there we go. Yeah. Okay. Make of that what you will. Jason, always with the curveballs.
Yeah. That's my middle name.
Curveball. Jason Curveball.
That's it.
Jason Curveball Wagner. Yeah.
That's it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
But that's been lots of fun. I've really enjoyed talking about it. Do let us know your choices, though. And if you haven't yet listened to the original episode that we did on this with Maz, which was episode 54, it might be worth a listen as well and see our choices there. More Keith action in that one as well. So
Keith'em coming, Sixo.
Yeah, Keith'em coming, indeed. But it is worth mentioning on that note that we do have a Patreon. And if you're not yet on our Patreon, you want to be on our Patreon, right? Because this is the absolute place to be. If you want more content like this, we got a lot of it on there. We've just unleashed the lost episode, the long forgotten episode on Titan's Return, so you can get a bit of classic 3T on there for your ears right now. But other than that, we've got 5 glorious tiers of stuff. You can get on our Discord. We've got fortnightly mini-sodes on a range of one-off topics, and we've got fortnightly mini-series on a range of ongoing topics as well. So it's all good stuff on the Discord. And we've had some new patrons recently, haven't we, Jason?
We have indeed. Yeah, we've had a nice flurry of sign-ups of late. So in no particular order, they are, and a warm welcome to them all. We have Anonymous is coming at Sixo's Butler. Hello, Anonymous. Matroplex, Apologetic Ramp. Loving the name Matroplex. I get the connect there. That's a good one.
You get that reference.
I get that reference. Dawson Stith. I'll make sure I get that right. Apologetic Ramp, loving it. Meltdown, Goldbox Classic. Hello there, Meltdown. Our good friend, Dom Salvia, is coming.
I love that
Beast.
guy. Going for
Hello,
a drink
Dom.
with that guy as well on Saturday is also
nice.
a nice group of people
yep.
going for a drink.
See you at TFN, I suspect, Dom. That's a warm welcome. Harry Hussey. Harry, let me know how I pronounce your surname, just
Hussey.
So I've got that right. Hussey, yeah.
I'd assume so.
Apologetic Ramp.
Maybe it's Hussey.
Well, I said Hussey because I feel like,
Who's to say?
Who's to say?
Harry Hussey. That's it, yeah.
Hussey?
There we go.
Yeah. Harry.
Welcome,
says.
Harry.
I bet he's never heard any of that before.
I know, yeah, exactly. Gareth 4'30". Love it. Goldbox Classics.
Oh, we like Gareth. He's a good lad.
Joseph England coming in at Inner Beast level. Hello, Joseph. And we also have Daniel Hollinshead, Man in Pig. Welcome, Daniel. Excellent. Good stuff. Welcome, one and all. Patrons.
Thanks for signing up, everybody.
Appreciate it.
We do appreciate it greatly. So your support means a lot to us and it helps keep the podcast going. So yeah, speaking of which, we do also have a sponsor for the evening. So that is tfsource.com. So you can check them out for all your Transformers and third-party needs.
Yeah. And as usual, I've been sifting through the old emails and messages in the old
have you?
Instagram folder. We got quite a good one today. I had a nice little chat with this person, back and forth with old Charlene from Texas.
Good God.
She just asked, she was saying, I've been checking out your Rebel store at rebel.com/people/Triple Takeover/explore. I was like, oh,
Lasai.
that's good. She memorized the old internet address there. But she was asking if we did shoes. I was like, I don't think Rebel will offer that as a thing. We've got all sorts of other stuff there. I was like, we have shower curtains. We've got all sorts of stationery and paraphernalia like that you can have. I don't think she was biting because she just followed it up with a quick email to say, well, you can say what you want, but it won't change my mind. I feel the same about shoes.
It's very familiar.
Dear.
I was like, oh, I felt like I'd upset her, but, I did apologise.
Maybe she had an inner smile, Liam.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. I know she enjoys the old summer sun, but who knows what else is going on.
Gonna move you on now, I think.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear. These are getting worse. These are getting worse. How are they getting worse?
I don't know what you're talking about. These are just people who listen to the podcast.
Peak content.
Honestly. I don't think any of us get paid enough for this, honestly.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like I say, I think you're being disrespectful to one of our listeners there, Sixo. I'm disappointed personally.
One of our followers.
Charlene from Texas. I'm sorry.
Pretty sure she's a local girl for me, But anyway,
I think she might be.
Oh, yeah, I think she is part of your world. Maybe she's on holiday in Texas.
Yeah,
she's on a sojourn to Texas. But anyway, Charlene, if you wish to complain about Sixo's attitude, I would. You can hit us up on social media. We're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those things, and YouTube. Go and watch the Short Circuits and leave a comment for old Sixo on there.
Anyway, moving us swiftly on. So that has been Third Party Heaven and Hell. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. It's certainly been quite cathartic for us. And Jason got to talk about 2 toys that he enjoys. So that's quite nice.
True. Heaven.
Heaven. Having it both ways. That's your classic thing, isn't it?
Having it both ways.
Having it both ways, exactly. So
good for Jason. Heaven is a place on earth.
That's true.
I think you've done that one.
Oh, what? With Belinda from Carlisle?
Yeah, I think you have already mentioned that joke very episode. So,
have I?
Yeah, you have, mate. Yeah.
It wasn't a joke, it's just an observation.
Anyway, do hit us up on the old socials. Let us know your thoughts on Third Party Heaven and Hell. Are there any toys that you particularly don't like or do like that you think we should talk about? We'd love to hear it because I think we might come back and do this one another time. But in the meantime, do check us out on Patreon if you haven't already. Check out Short Circuits on YouTube as well. That's our fortnightly series about Transformers cartoons. And otherwise, we'll catch you for the next episode.